Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Good evening, everybody. This is Real Talk Corner, where conversation sparks change and every voice matters. I'm your host, Dr. Esther Cruickshank, and with me this evening, I'm so excited, is my co-host, Hadassah Charles McLeod. How are you, darling? Well, it's a wonderful Tuesday evening. It's already the 5th of August. We are in the month of August in the year 2025, girl. And well, I trust everybody, all my viewers, you all had a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I don't know what to say about this weekend gone by, but I trust you all had a good weekend. I trust that you had some time to relax and reflect, especially those of us of the African community. We said that this month of August we are going to be talking about the African community and the whole idea of emancipation. Okay, so we stick into that this month. Doesn't mean that we wouldn't share a little bit on politics and some of the things that is happening. But you know what? I want us to reflect on ourselves, as the African community in Trinidad and Tobago. I want us to think about where you are, and I'm talking about mentally, where you are with your thoughts, the renewing of your mind, understanding your position, understanding who you are. You are perfectly made by God, not thinking about any other race or any whatever happened in the past. It has happened. But pushing to get ourselves together as the African citizens in this country, and also coming together and working together to create an environment or a community for the African people to grow and to be better citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay? So I want to give my co-host the opportunity to share what she has. Of course, she have to welcome you all. So it's all over to you, Hadassah.
Thank you, Esther. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. And it's so great to be on another episode of Real Talk Corner Live.
I think we are having a little internet situation and a little technical difficulties. All right, but we
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Well, let me apologize to everyone. We just had a little break in our system. So, we are back on. The internet just dropped off from nowhere. And I don't know if you all were hearing us, but let me welcome each and everyone again back to Real Talk Corner and welcome my host, my co-host again back on. We wasn't hearing you, so take this opportunity to welcome your fans and your people, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, well, I realized that I was talking to myself, and I was like, Hadassah, this can be every hour of the day. I talk to myself quite a lot. So, anyways, it's good to be back. Um, I want to just shout out our producer because he acted really swiftly and we are back online within no time. So thank you so much. But I was saying, we have been reflecting on this period that is really important and is marked by people of African descent. And we're just taking these next couple of shows to talk about the things that impact us, talk about the things that matter to us, and to talk about the things that we can do as a community to move us forward, right? Notwithstanding the obstacles and the challenges that we've had, but like Esther said, um, a lot of this is in the past, and while we are still dealing with the residual effects, it is really time for us to charter a new course. So I hope that everybody would get on board, that you would contribute to the conversation. Leave what you're thinking in the comments. Let us know that you're here, that you're supporting, that you're enjoying. And again, like I said, it's really good to be on another episode of Real Talk Corner Live. Back to you, Esther.
Indeed, indeed. Like we did say, this month, August, we would be focusing on the African community, and therefore talking about emancipating ourselves. We don't need a holiday to emancipate our thoughts, the way we do things, the way we look at things, the way we complain about things, the way we complain about government and other race and culture. We need to focus on us. We have to do something about us. And we can only do that by coming together, talking it out, having conversations as to how we go forward, what we should do, and how we should do it without having our own personal agenda. But the agenda should be to bring the African people together and to help us to grow. Growth is important in this era and in this time, especially for our younger generation. We need to help them to understand their culture. We were not that fortunate. We grew up without our culture. We still don't know much about it. But this month we are going to be having some guests that is going to help us understand our culture, where we came from, where we are going, of course, acknowledging our Lord and Savior for those of us who believe in Christ Jesus. Those who doesn't, you have the opportunity to bring to the table, bring to your mind, bring to yourself and your family what it is and who you want to believe in. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. It is up to you. This is not forced on anybody. I am not the one to bad talk or criticize anybody, but I say it as it is based on my conviction. But when it comes to the culture of the African race, we want to grow there. We want to empower people there for you to understand who you are in society. You have the Africans, you have the Indians, we have the Syrians, we have what else? We have the Venezuelans now, and all these races, they have their culture. Some of them may have lost it, I don't know, but we never knew ours because when we came here, when our forefathers came here, they came without it. Okay? They took it away from us. We came with nothing and had to rebuild ourselves, rebuild our emotions, rebuild our spirituality, and all of that. So tonight, we want to continue in that vein. We want to talk about it. And whilst we're doing that, we want to talk about how we treat one another and how others may treat us as well. Because it is no joke and it is no surprise. I mean, you see it, you smell it, you fight it, but it is the reality. The African community are treated differently and sometimes with great discord in this country from the other races, and even in finances, whatever we try to do, even things that belongs to us, Hadassah, it's taken away from us. And there is something that I want to share. I just waiting on the approval, something that is dear to me and my family that has up to this moment have not been given to us. All right? If it was the Indian community or the Syrian community, they would have gotten it already, billions of dollars. But because it's African, they do us whatever they want. And this does hurt to the core, I'm telling you. And with this new government in place, I am trusting that it is going to be resolved and it will not be swept under the table because it has to do with a name, a big name in this country called Hamel Smith. And most people would know that name, but very, very disheartening and painful when you have something that belongs to you and other people wants to take it from you and it is rightfully yours. That is not a thing that anybody else tolerate. We as African, you know what? We take it and we stay quiet sometimes. We sell it out. We just say, well, give me whatever. They gave you 10 million because they feel that is what you deserve. You understand? So it is something before the month of August that I am going to be talking about if it doesn't resolve in this month because it is not fair to us. They like to talk about we Africans, we're not productive and we're not manageable and we're not this. But when it comes to our birthright or things that is ours, they always want to take it from us or put pressure on us so that we can sell it. You understand? And everything for most of us, we sell our birthrights. We sell it because we get frustrated. We don't have the financial backing. And I know that for a number of us, we don't have it. And they squeeze us in a corner and cause us to sell what belongs to us, what we're supposed to keep and pass on from generation to generation so that they can live comfortably. In this country of Trinidad, this is what a lot of the African people have to go through. And I know Hadassah could share some as well when it comes to her father, her deceased father, and what he had gone through. And in my case with my family and in-laws and so on, it is a terrible situation, and I promise I'm going to talk about it, but I'm giving it the rest of this month before I can talk about it because these people, some of these people, like the Syrians and the French Creoles and those people who have the money and who feel the black Africans should have nothing, they do injustice to us. But we're not, my family and I, we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to talk about it. But give me some time. I'm going to talk about it if we do not get resolved. And that is the situation with some of us here in Trinidad as African people. They want to cast stones on us, but we never get what is rightfully ours. When you're doing business, the banks don't give you what you're supposed to get. They would loan you. If you ask for 100,000, they want to give you 50,000. You understand? And they very well know that that is not going to allow us to be successful. It is unfair.
Yeah. Indeed. That is so true. I mean, while you were speaking, Esther, my mind was racing with how am I going to respond? Because there are so many different ways that you can look at it. But I remember maybe about a year or so on this very show, before we rebranded, I talked about even our carnival, um, and the origins of our carnival, and what it meant for um, Afro Trinbagonians. Um, and the origin is that uh, the whites and the Creoles, whatnot, they had their masquerade, right? And of course, we were not welcomed in. That was not for us. So we decided to create our own. We beat drums, we created the pan, we made our own costumes that were very reminiscent of stories that were very deep in African lore and stuff like that. And we made our own mass. And I talked about the fact that what we are seeing is like the lightening or the whitening of our culture. And it happens everywhere, right? So I can think about white people moving into Brooklyn and the gentrification is taken there. We can talk about what is happening in the States where oxtail is now this delicacy because white people have discovered it, and it's getting more and more and more expensive. And where it used to be something that you could just buy and make a soup on a Saturday, it's becoming inaccessible to the very people who created this dish and things like that. So it's the same thing. There are stories about Mr. Manning, right? God rest his soul, when he recognized that a certain class of people in Trinidad and Tobago were amassing a lot of wealth and they were becoming unmanageable, right? So they were responsible for the drug trade and the rise in crime. And all the time, they were also amassing more wealth and more businesses and more wealth and more businesses. And this is what I talked about, that there was this period where there was a shift away from empowering and helping and encouraging African leaders and entrepreneurs and businessmen. And there was a shift to making sure that the wealth ended up in the hands of certain people, right? Mr. Rowley was very instrumental in helping this along because he was very much their puppet, right? My experience is my father had done a project worth millions of dollars, $68 million to be exact. They never paid the man for his work, right? On top of that, they concocted a legal thing where all his assets were frozen and he didn't have access to his money. He had to send his employees home. All of a sudden, I was a student in UWE, accustomed to my dad sending me my allowance, and I lived a certain life, right? And it was taken away in an instant, right? So this is his story, and I know that there are many stories of people who had wealth, right, who were of the African descent, and that legacy has not remained because certain powers that be did not want it to be so, right? So yes, I can definitely empathize and I can relate to what has happened to you, Esther, because it is a real thing. It's a real thing where uh, they have decided that we are always supposed to be the slave working class, right? So you flood our communities with drugs and guns. You don't give us equal opportunities. You don't give us opportunities to own businesses, right? So our women, our men, fall prey to crime and things like that. And this is what we have, the cycle of what we have in Trinidad um, and Tobago. So yeah, this is exactly true, and it's so painful to talk about because a lot of people listen to you and they're kind of wary. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they always phrase it as if you're making excuses for whatever your current condition. But that is not the case. We are just talking about uh, structured, it's almost like a deliberate, right? Keeping down of certain people, right? To ensure that others are successful, right? And it is definitely something that we need to address. I am always one to say I am happy to admit when I am wrong. But on our last show, I talked about the fact that I didn't think reparations would be a thing that we would see. And then 2 days later in the newspaper, the headline was that the Prime Minister is committing to reparations, right, for people of the African diaspora in Trinidad and Tobago. And I really hope that that is something that I could live to see and to walk in and to enjoy because it is overdue. It is definitely overdue. And she talked about it in terms of our culture. She talked about what we talked about on the show, making sure that people of African descent know who they are so that there are centers for people to learn, that there are schools. And all those things made me really happy about creating systems where you can get, be entrepreneurship, get into a business, get access to funding, and all of it made me really happy. And I feel like if this is done in a real way, it's rolled out in a real way, the impact that it could have on us over the next 5 years would be life changing.
Totally agree with you, Hadassah. Totally agree with you. And I mean, I was happy. It's actually, it felt as though the Prime Minister would have listened to what we said. And I know it's not just what we said because everything that she echoed is what we have been talking about, okay? But you know, sometimes I don't like to talk about this matter sometimes, but we have to because some people are so offended when we talk about it, but it's not about offending any other race. This is reality to us as African citizens, right? We were free to do what? What were we free to do? Free to be who? We were not free to be ourselves. We were just given permission to exist. And I said that in my speech on Friday. It is just a permission to exist, not a permission to live as other citizens, as the other race, or as God intended for us to live. We were not given that right. We were just given the
Yeah,
rights to exist. We knows nothing about our culture. And like you said, and
yeah,
I said before, people like the Hammersmiths and others, the names are not coming to me now, but they have depressed us. They allow our forefathers, in my case was my grandmother-in-law, right, sign things, give them, the way out to do certain things and to help us. And you know what? They take everything. Never, they put everything into their trust and never see it fit to even have the respect to give her what belongs to her. And now that it's
yeah,
passed down to the family, we ourselves can't get anything. So it is disheartening, all right? And like I said, if by the end of this month nothing comes to us, I am going to talk about it because it is our blood, it is our birthright. And then they want to criticize us. In some case, I know some of us, we just don't care as African people. We don't want to be empowered. We don't want to know. But for those of us who are emancipated, not by the emancipation that they celebrate, but we have allowed ourselves to be emancipated by renewing our mind, by educating ourselves, by allowing ourselves not to fall in the trap of those who say that, they're helping us and they really, what they're doing is digging the hole deeper for us to sink, really doesn't want us. to achieve anything. You have to fight for everything in this country as an African person. Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. We have to fight double, triple times to achieve anything that we want to achieve in this country of Trinidad and Tobago. We as Africans don't get it easy. Some people don't like to hear it, but that's the reality. And some Africans themselves, they make it worse for us. They don't help us. They walk on our head. They put the foot, the knee on our necks. Their own African people. And it's time for
Yeah.
them to renew their own mind and start helping their people. Like I said
Yeah.
last week, Friday, it's not that we can't help other race. We are a people together. It's Trinidad and Tobago, and we're supposed to help one another. But the African people are not being helped. When the other race or whatever, like now, they would give you something. I'm not in any way talking about my prime minister because I know she's
Yeah.
a fair woman. I know she does what she have to do to ensure that we get the best. But the people who she put there sometimes, they have their own agenda. They don't help us. So she have to do check and balance with them this time around because you put them there as African people, some of them, and all they see about Hadassah is themselves. And those who want to be a part of something, they want to send you apart. And then you have the other, some of the Indians and other races, they too, they try to squeeze us out. And we have the answers. We are not stupid. We are not foolish. All of us are not uneducated. But they just have this vindictiveness against the African community. And that needs to stop. I love every single person. Every race is created by God. And we're supposed to empower everybody that wants to be empowered. Because I must say this, there are some of you as African people, I don't think you want to be empowered. All you want is gimme, gimme, gimme. All you want is to get. You don't want to work. You want to lie down and sleep. And you want to thief and you want to kill. And you need to change that foolishness. Stop it. I'm not saying the other races doesn't do it. Because there's where white collar crime comes. Right? Because I always say the drugs and the guns, we can't bring it in. The small man can't bring it in. We don't have the money. We don't have the influence. We don't have it. It's not us. When the little black boys are being killed and put in prison and being battered, it's not them. We talk about the prisons the other day and what was happening. How that getting inside there? You think them little fellas have any money to do that? Yes, we have some gang rings and whatever, but how they get the guns? How they get the drugs? Let's be real now, man. Let us be real in this country. And I trust who have to hear this will hear it. We need to crack down on the real people who are corrupting this country. It is not us. We don't have what it takes to do it. And if we had it, they suppress us. We can't get our money. We can't get what belongs to us. They take it away from us. They don't give it to us. They tricked our foreparents, our grandparents and great-grandparents. And up to this day, we can't get what belongs to us. So listen to me, Trinidad and Tobago, especially the African community. Let us wake up and come together. You can't do it by yourself. I can't do it by myself. My co-host cannot do it by herself. We need all of the African people to come together who have influence, who have knowledge of who we are, our culture. We need to come. We need to have a training ground. We need to do our proposal to the government to let them know. And it's not just one side of the African. When it happens, it's supposed to be for all of us. We need a center, African center, to bring in our people and train them, to empower them. They need to. A lot of them are illiterate. They behave illiterate if they're not even so. Some of them have a little bit of education. They feel they reach. No, we ain't reach. So we have to come together. We have to come together. Last week I called out the number and I said, send a message. Call. If you want small black African business or entrepreneurs or owners, you need to call if you want to be a part of this movement. 7826145. You need to send a WhatsApp message. This is not a joke. We are in 2025 and we have to come together. And even if it's 3 persons, I am going to join with them. We're going to come together and find a way to change this dynamic. We have to change it. For too long we are suffering. Our forefathers have died and gone. Some of them, all they did was talk about what they had and who was supposed to help them and didn't help them, and they died grieving because they realized that their generation down the road wasn't going to make it. But enough is enough. And I'm saying to my Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad Bissessar, you and your government has to do something to help the African community. The time is now. Screen the right people to put on that executive board, whatever it's going to be, to help the African people. The diaspora needs to come together. And it mustn't be people who just have their own self agenda. It's about all of us because we are falling apart. These young men, African men, don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. And if you don't know who you are expected to perform. If you don't know who you are, producer, you think you could do anything? You're just operating on the surface. Little things that you hear and you know sometimes it's not even correct because who telling it to us? They have no clue about our culture. They have no clue about who we are and what we are capable of. So that must change. We need it to change. And what rightfully belongs to us when we start to investigate, we need the government and those who are in power to stop the power strippiness over us and give us what belongs to us. Because what they do, once it's a hierarchy who have the foot on what belongs to us, they just push it under the table and they leave you there to suffer. You're suffering, you're screaming and you're bawling for help. They wouldn't help you. But you see that? It needs to change. I don't mind if I have to die, lose my life like who? Was it Rosa is her name in the States? I don't mind if I have to do that to bring freedom to my African people in Trinidad and Tobago. But I am not going to sit down any longer and let them stamp on our feet. Let them stamp on what belongs to us. What belongs to us is ours. And give it to us. We want it. Now is the time. Freedom. Free at last. We just say that. Thank God we are free at last. We ain't totally free at last because we only here existing. We are not living the life. We're not living it like it's golden. Whilst every other race could live it like it's golden, we are not. And those of you Africans who feel, well, you have it made, you have everything, so you're not going to help your people, be careful because you know what? They just come for you all. When they see what you have, yes, you might have a little security and whatever, but one day you got to answer to God for not helping who he put in your position to help. You are not here to gain everything for yourself. It's not for you alone. It's for your brothers. It is for your sisters. It's to help one another. So let us wake up, my people, my black African people, wake up. Whether you're black, fair, brown skin, or in between, wake up. Once you have the blood of Africa in your vein, wake up. The time has come for us to support and help one another, not neglecting the others. We are not about that. But if you could help others, you could help your own. And that is how the other race see it. They help their own first and then they help others. You have to help fix yourself, fix your home before you could fix others. But you know what? We have fixed others long enough. We have fixed them so good that they don't give two hoots about us. But I'm saying tonight, it's time for us to start fixing us, the African community. And it is up to us to stop complaining about the others. Let us come together. Let us form this network, this cooperative, this organization, whatever we're going to call it. But it's about empowering the African citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It's about helping us to understand our culture, where we came from, and what we are about to do to go forward. And I promise you all, for the rest of this month, we're going to be having people, even persons from Africa, intelligent people, who are going to talk about our culture in Africa, who are going to talk about where the people in the Caribbean, which tribe we came from. So we're going to be getting some history this month about the African citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. And I hope to God that you all take it serious. I hope to God that you take the opportunity to learn and to feel proud of who you are. Because I don't care what nobody say about me. I'm proud of who I am. I was created by God of the African descent, and I have African blood running in my vein. I know it mixes up too, because it's not that alone. Most of us in this country, we mix. All right? But let us get serious, people, Trinidad and Tobago. So, all you African citizens who are influencers, who are business associates, who understand, who are lecturers and whatever, let us come together. I ain't looking to blow no trumpet on my head. I want us to come together. I could be the doorkeeper for this to happen, but it must happen. It must start in 2025. That's what I am saying.
Indeed.
So,
Well said. I'm hoping that the fervor and passion and the urgency with which you're speaking with Esther is really contagious and that it lights a fire under other people because I feel
hope
like that
so.
is what is missing. I feel like we're very apathetic about our people in general. And I feel like I observing people under PNM was such a mind-boggling thing, right? And I think in a lot of ways we are okay and happy when other people are doing well. So when Mr. Rowley used to jump on a plane to leave the country to go and see a doctor, and people would be in the comments defending that, I used to be like, but don't you think you deserve better too? You know? So I think this is what it is. We help so many other people with our blood, sweat, and tears build their dreams, right? When that man, Sapgar, talked about how we are the smallest, but we are the most powerful, right? And fail to acknowledge the fact that all the ritual stores, all the shops that he has, right, that employ people of African descent, which has propelled him to the level of wealth that he has. It is really, really crazy, right? But I also feel as that we know, instinctively we know and we have the tools because I was thinking about the simple concept of a susu, right? Right before the show when I was walking my dog. And I was thinking, like, we have a susu, you have your hand every month, you pay it, you get your hand, whichever month you decide, and then you go and do something with it. But we can also do that as a community. If we come together as communities and we say, this hand, this month is for Mary for her to get the down payment for her car. And this month is for this family so that they could buy the bricks to lay the foundation for their house. If we start to think like that and move like that, it would be revolutionary, you know? So I think that we really need to change the way that we think about ourselves. We need to see ourselves as worthy, right? We need to move away from the token Negro mentality where only one person is good enough to be in Master's house, right? We need to move away from that and we need to see all ourselves as worthy, that our dreams are valid, that the things that we want and the things that we desire are not far fetched and they are not lofty. It is very, very possible. And I feel like the more empowered we are as a community, the more financially savvy we become, the more we help each other and uplift each other, the other races would have no choice but to sit up and to take notice, right? We are kind of scattered and all over the place, and yet it is talk about us behind our backs, and they laugh at us and they say very derogatory things about us. But when you look at the state of the community, you could almost understand it, right? But I never understand racism because it is such a crazy thing to me, right? People will they will bad talk you, they will treat you bad, but they would invite you into their homes to take care of their ailing mothers and fathers. They would invite you into their homes to cook their meals and to iron their food. In slavery days, the um, plantation owner's wife would give the mothers, the black mothers, the babies to nurse them, right? So we're good enough to feed your babies from our bodies. We're good enough to prepare your meals. We're good enough to be in your homes and clean it, you know? And but yet still we have no value, no intrinsic value to them beyond that. We are the ones who need to determine what our value is and who we are. We need to stake our claim. We need to say we are here, right? And you cannot ignore us, and we are undeniable, right? It is time for us to shake off the legacy of slavery because, like I said in the other show, the last show that we had, that is not the entirety of who we are. We are so much more. There's so much more depth to us as a people. I saw a
Definitely.
video of a young girl talking about
They're just
how,
taking a break after. Right?
yeah, over the years, you look at how slavery has, how it has been, how it trickled down over the years, um, what they have done to us, and all of it is so organized and so orchestrated. Apartheid in South Africa, what they used to do to people in Belgium, they used to cut off the slaves' hands, and all the different parts of the world. And she was saying the very same thing that I was saying. What it is about us that people have ganged up on us for centuries, right? It is just I think it just has to be our light that they're trying to snuff out, and I need to take solace in that because if you just look at what exists, it could be very disheartening as a person with dark skin trying to navigate the world, right? There is something about us that is special. We need to tap into that specialness. We need to tap into who we are as a people, right? Whatever we do, whatever we put our hands on, it's amazing. Whatever sport we get into, we dominate. This is why they have tried to keep us out more often than not. Whenever somebody has a new score in terms of like the IQ and whatnot, it's usually somebody who looks like me and Esther, right? We are undeniable as a people, but in a lot of ways, we don't know it and we don't understand it. And it's time for us to come to this realization and to lean into that and to help each other. That's it for me.
Definitely, indeed. We want to take a break and we'll be right back where I would say my closing remarks based on what was discussed tonight.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassah, how are you?
Hi, I am fine. Thank you. How are you, Esther?
Welcome back. Welcome back to Real Talk Corner. And you know, Hadassah, you just shared some stuff there that is really mind-boggling, and it is the truth. Now, one of the first thing I want to talk about, you spoke about Sabga. When they made this, he and his family made the statement
Yes,
about, they are 1%, but they are most powerful, the most powerful team or race in Trinidad. And what they failed to realize, and I want to make this abundantly clear. I personally, and I think those of us in the African community who have this understanding and who is empowered to understand who they are, we have no problem with any other race being powerful. Whether you want to say you're most powerful and you're the smallest, whatever. The truth is, are you mindful as to who worked their ass out to cause you to be the most powerful? Because when you look at these establishments, it is the African people who are slaving themselves for next to nothing. And I have to say slave because it's not work. You all don't even pay them their rightful wage. Okay? So they work hard, they are committed to you all. And this has been the problem over the years, decades, hundreds of years. Even from Africa, we work for you all. We are committed. We are submissive. We are loyal. How long you think we will do that and you all treat us as slaves? You all don't value us. You do not give us what we are worth. You just know that we do a good job and use your tongue with words to make us feel good because we're so stupid. We are uneducated for a lot of us who don't understand that, hello, words can't put food on your table. Words cannot make you live a better type of life. And I want to be clear with this. Every community needs to help their people. The Syrians does it. The Indians does it. It is time for the Africans to do it. And we are our own destructors, our own destroyers. Our own demise is our African people. Let me say why. When the PNM government was in power, how much of us got high position? How much of us were at the top ranking position? It was the Indians, it was probably the Syrians or whoever else except us. You had a few of us who were there, and you know what? Those of you who were there, shame on you because you didn't help your people. When the UNC, which is an Indian-based government, comes into power, it is expected that they help their people. And you know what? We don't get the highest position, even if we are earmarked for it. You know what it is do? Move you and put their people, and we cannot blame them because it's an Indian-based government for the Indians. The African-based government, which is the PNM, they don't do that. They too put the Indians in high position. And the African, you take the scrum from the table, that falling from the table. And we feel good about it. Once you could get a few dollars to buy a boogie boogie, to have a little shack somewhere, you can't put up, Lord Jesus help me here tonight, you know, because we stupid. And we have allowed ourselves to continue in this vein. Some of us, we get a little something and we would never help our own people. It's the same thing with the past UNC collusion. They would have put the Prime Minister, our now Prime Minister again, would have put African people to help the African community. What did they do? Did they help the African people? What they do instead is help some other Indians and help some Syrians and help some Venezuelans, whatever. They did not bring us and train us and teach us and tell us about our culture. You cannot just give somebody something and they don't know what to do with it. They're going to squander it and waste it. This is why we need to be training our people. We need to be educating them. We had Gate. How much African people run to the rescue? Gate was there. Only people, a few of us, we went and got our degrees because we didn't have money before to do it. So we should have taken the opportunity. In some cases, we were not certified. Okay? So we couldn't even get in. And this is the position of the African people in Trinidad and Tobago. So yes, the masses, they don't help us because we have been foolish for years. We talk about the Africans when the white people took us, they love our food. They want us to cook. They want us to clean. And as Hadassah said, they want us to breastfeed their children. But they're not paying us anything worth it. They ain't paying us our worth. You understand? No. We're doing all of that. And still, after you clean the damn toilet, that very toilet, they don't want you to sit in it to use it. No. They put one somewhere else for you to use. You're good to do everything to make them better, to make their lives better, but you're not good to get a fair wage. You're not good to get a good position so that you can help yourself and your family and also others. This is what it is all over the world. It's as though we curse, but we're not cursed. We are special in the sight of God. We are created with our ability to do great things, but we allow them to use us to do great for them, and we don't for ourselves. Check out the people, the Indians and the Syrians and all these people who have people working for them, and they're up on top there. They always have the African people, and I have no problem with it. But what I am saying, it's time for the African community to come together, do the same thing. Get your people up. Every community needs to use their own race to help one another. And as you go up the ladder, the others is going to climb with you. The African race must do the same thing. Yeah. We build the Masa's house. Hadassah, you spoke about the Susu, and that is so true. My great-grandparents and family members, they talked about this Susu is what helped them to build their homes and to become, when you see some of them have some nice homes, they tell you it's Susu. because they were poor and nobody was helping them, not even their own people. And I put this blame on us as African people, not on the others. We see in the injustice by the others, but we have to blame ourselves, because it is time we wake up and do what is right for us and stop being
Yeah.
like crabs, damn crabs in bucket, pulling down
Yeah.
each other. It's time to support one another and let us climb together. Stop
Yeah.
being foolish, my African brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
everybody to succeed, but all of us are not succeeding. The African people are not succeeding the way they ought to. We are built with the ability by God like everybody else. And the truth is, everybody else, for most of them, all over the world, they learn from us. The wealth of the European country and America is from Africa. If we don't know it, you better get to know it now, because eyes are being opened and it is being shared. And you know what? We are not racist because we love everybody. We eat their food, we sit with them. They will sit with us and eat with us and then go and bad talk us and go and say the worst about us. We will tell them where they're going wrong and how to do it right and what to do. They don't do it for us in many of the cases, right? And in every
Yeah.
race, I know there are racism. But listen, God didn't make us to be racist. He made us to love. He said, love one another as I have shown love to you. Show it to each other. But the African race, all you just ain't getting it. Because when your African brother and sister have a business or have something, you ain't supporting them. You know who does come and support them? The same Indians that we have to talk about. You see something wrong with us? I rebuke and curse that is upon the African community in the name of Jesus. It's time for us to wake us. Let us wake up. Let us see the light and let us come together. It is time. We like our blight. So we rebuke that blight. We push it out. Some of us, all we know to do is witchcraft and necromancy, and that makes it worse for us. Check them out, who does do it. They're charging you thousands of dollars and they still blight. All you need God. We need God through Jesus Christ. That is what we need. Stop the foolishness and use your brain, use your upstairs to come together. We cannot do it by ourselves. One man is not an island. We have to come together. And I'm sending out this clarion call for the African brothers and sisters. Please call the number, send a message and say, I want to be a part of this movement. Because whether you do it or not, it's going to happen. So get yourself together. All ain't tired. We ain't tired being frustrated. We ain't tired going to the bank and they refusing us a loan even when we have what we need to have to get the loan, because they don't see us worthy of it. They don't see us fit to get that loan. You ask for 1 million and they want to give you 500,000, knowing that you go fail with 500,000. They want you to work magic. You have a plan, you put a proposal together, it's $1 million. They don't do it for the other race. They give them what they want and more. But for us as African, they don't. And if you make one error, they're ready to come and take everything without giving you another chance. You know what they tell you? Bring your arrest up to date. If you have arrest, how could you bring it up to date when the reason you have an arrest is because things is not going right for you to get it? And what? Our forefathers sell out all our land, so we don't have no land to piggyback on. We have nobody to go to. The Indians and the Syrians, they have it all. But we don't blame them because they work together and they got what they have. Some of them may have stole it from us. Yes, I know that, because I am talking about my own situation with my family. It is hurting because you know what? We're not supposed to be in the position we are. I have my in-laws. They're in situation that shouldn't be there. And we can't get the help just to get what belongs to us. Hamil Smith, hey, I come in for you all. I come in for you all. All you have what belongs to us in all your trust and think it would stay there, all you're going to have to send them to kill me. But I'm telling you, get it right, African people. Get it right. If we can't come together, we would lose ourselves totally. Unless some of us head to Africa. You understand? Because some of them, they say, why all they don't go to Africa? I just want to say, why all they don't go back to India and go back to Syria. All of you who are here and enjoying the fruit of the labor of the African people. So don't talk them strippiness with me, because I know what I know, and I would say what I have to say. Who want to send a pre-action protocol letter, do so too. Because from in the jail cell, I would preach like Nelson Mandela. I would do it. all these injustices that have taken place amongst the African community, it's time for it to stop. And we have to stop it. They're not going to
Yeah.
stop it for us. We got to come together and stop it. I hope this message tonight, it's going to continue, but I hope you're listening. Africans, wake up. Africans, wake up and come together. Let us forget about everybody else. We need to come together. We need to have our own space and strategize how we're going to do it. There's many ways within a short period of time that we all can benefit. But we can't do it a handful. We need all of us. The other brothers and sisters of different race, they used us and they got what they wanted. And that is fine.
Yeah.
That is gone and that is done. It's time for us now to come together, bring our resources, whatever we have together, bring what God has given to us, the ability and mind to come together and to do this. Stop being foolish and silly and stupid. Let us come together. And I trust that we will take hold of what I am saying and don't criticize and talk about what she talking and she talking race. No, this is not race. This is about our culture. This is about the African community coming together to be like the Indian community, the Syrian community. Don't you know we can be that way too? Yes, we can. So with these few words, I want to tell you all, may the good Lord bless you all. May his face shine upon you. May your eyes be open. May you be willing to make the sacrifice to do what is right. All these African attorneys and doctors, we need to come together. I love all of you in Trinidad and Tobago. My co-host, I love you. I can't do it without you.
Too.
My producer, can't do it without you. Trinidad and Tobago, I can't do it without you all. We need each other hand in hand. But my brothers and sisters from the African community, most importantly, I need us to come together. Let us do something that is going to benefit our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren if the Lord tarry. Blessings to you all. See you on Thursday. Said it, you have heard it. It's up to you to make that decision for change. God bless you all. Talk Corner until Thursday. Bye.